What up, guys? So today's video is going to be a takedown that DJ Demetrius Johnson, Mighty Mouse, did in the Pans recently, 2024. The reason why I'm posting this is because the other day I posted a video where I was saying that if you want to get good at takedowns, as a jiu-jitsu practitioner who's new to them, you should spend most of your time doing takedown work live with people around your same weight class, right? Because for different reasons. You can go watch the video if you want to see what those reasons are, but a lot of reasons. Now, that said, as soon as I posted that video, it was like the next day, this match happens with Mighty Mouse where he goes against this big fella in the gi and he ends up taking him down. And of course, some of you guys decided to get on the comments and go, hey, Chewy, we saw the DJ match, we saw the Mighty Mouse match. You want to rethink your take? You think you were wrong? No, I don't think I was wrong. Mighty Mouse is one of the best fighters of his era. He's a professional athlete, literally one of the best fighters of his division of all time. Creative grappler. He was eating, sleeping, breathing, training, right? He was just doing it all the time. Many of you guys that are in jiu-jitsu, you train like 2 or 4 days a week. You're not training multiple times a day, all day long. You don't have your whole life wrapped around combat sports. He's the exception, not the rule. So for the rest of you guys, that take is still there. If you're going to get good at takedowns, you should definitely spend most of your live work with people around the same weight class. That said, I do want to break down the technique because the technique that he used in that particular video or in that particular match is a takedown I love. It's a takedown I've used a ton in competitions and I use it in different ways, but I wanted to, one, talk about the basics of how the takedown works and then also talk about how he used the takedown. And again, it's a really good takedown that you can use in gi. And honestly, in my opinion, it's one of the best takedowns in the gi because it bypasses some of the difficulty with people grabbing our collars. So with that said, guys, let's jump into this idea or this video on a sweep single and we'll look at how to use it and we'll also see how Mighty Mouse did it. All right, guys, so let's talk about the basic way this takedown works. So what we're looking for is we're looking for collar and sleeve control. Now, if I'm going for this side, right here, I want to have the opposite side collar. I want to have control of the wrist or the sleeve on the same side as the leg that I'm attacking. Personally, I almost always like to go wrist control if I can get it, just because it's a little bit more direct and there's less wiggle from his hand. That said, sleeve control is good too, okay? Now from there, when I'm in position, what I'm trying to do is get him heavy on the leg that I want, okay? And this can typically be achieved by simply circling and giving a small pull, just like that. Just pulling slightly on the sleeve or the wrist here. And I'm not yanking, I'm pulling down. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I want to make this change from this hand on the sleeve to the hand behind the knee when I grab the leg as small as possible, right? So that's the basic way that we're setting this up initially, right? Is we're getting here and here. No matter what, I have to make sure that if I want this leg, he cannot have a collar grip, okay? Because that's gonna be a problem. Because if I try to shoot in on that, he can just stiff arm me. So again, if I want that leg, I have that sleeve control. He can have the collar on this side, that's fine. And this is honestly, what's really nice about this particular takedown in the gi is because this collar, a lot of times, everybody, you'll see just, if they don't know anything, like I've had guys brand new in jiu-jitsu, they'll come out and just grab a collar, and this is sort of some sort of safety because we feel like we can push the person away. And if the person does just straight like double legs and things like that, you 100% can, okay? And that's the beautiful part about this takedown. We're not going straight, we're going off to the side. So from here, I've got this grip, I've got my sleeve, and then all I'm gonna do is just circle away a little bit and pull down. Now, I've got everything I need. He's heavy on this foot, the leg is close. I'm gonna take a step slightly on the outside of the leg, being a single leg. I lower my level, my hand will let go, and I'm going to drop my knee behind his leg, and this hand punches like a hook, and I begin to drive and pick it up, okay? So that is the basic movement. Now we can do that in a few different ways. We can drop the knee like I just did. Another way we can do it is almost like a seonagi where we get him to step here. I can step to the side here and almost drop to like I'm going to a seonagi and pull on the collar and then standing up. Now, one last detail is that with the collar grip, this part's important. I'm yanking this collar grip down to try to get him heavy on this leg. So this way, as I'm going down, he'll get heavy on this leg, which means he'll get light on the leg that I'm trying to pick up. So from here, he's in the position, going boom, boom, getting the grip. I'm circling here, getting him to post heavy on that foot, take a step. And as I'm dropping down, I yank hard on this collar so that it gets him to step. And then from here, we can begin to drive up and pick the leg up. And that's the basic idea as far as the sweep single goes, like the entry itself. How we're going to finish, that can change. And we'll talk more about that with the way that Mighty Mouse finished in his match. All right, guys, so let's take a look at how Mighty Mouse set up this takedown and how the whole thing went down. So during the match, they were doing these battles for grips, and Mighty Mouse went in for a straight collar. Now, he was I think he was playing with his right hand. I play with my left hand. So he was right here. The big guy went through, opened, and got inside control of the grip on the collar, which is generally pretty good. And he fed the collar in. If you guys want to know what I mean by feeding, he opened the lapel up and then got the grip. This is generally a good idea on the feet and on the ground, right? If I'm going to get a cross collar grip, I want to open and feed. If I'm in here and the gi's all nice and tucked in and everything else, sometimes it might be harder to get the grip. But if I go here, not only does it get his hands to divert their attention here, but then it allows me to set up my grips off of that, right? So he went here, Mighty Mouse went here, the big guy got here. Now here's where the takedown was beginning to get set up. When he was here, there was a point where the guy's hands were on the same collar. And as that happened, Mighty Mouse got sleeve control or wrist control. It's hard to tell, but he had some control of this area of the guy's body, right? So he's setting up basically the prerequisite grips that he needs to set up the move, right? Which again is why I always talk about when you watch high-level guys, like when people say, what are you watching? I'm not watching necessarily the finish to the technique all the time. I'm watching how are they setting up the grips? How are they getting into body positioning? Because that's the stuff that makes the moves, right? Like if you have the grips and you have the body positioning, you have your techniques. And so again, he's set up now. Now, at the same time, the guy's stance was beginning to was a little bit more narrow, and he was walking. So from here, there were right afterwards, as soon as the grip on the collar was set, the guy began to walk, and then there we were. We now have the grips in the body positioning we need because he's heavy on this foot. We have sleeve control. We have a collar, and that's when he stepped to the side here and picked it up and came up. Now, once he came up, super important. This is one area where a lot of people in jiu-jitsu who haven't wrestled, they don't do a good job of this, where they'll pick up a single leg and they'll just stop moving, right? And they won't do anything. The whole time, as soon as he picked it up, he was moving. And if you notice what's happening, as I'm moving, Brandon has to bounce, right? So if Brandon picks up my single leg, if he just sits there, then I basically can think about, well, what am I going to do to counter this? But if he starts moving on me, I have to move and respond to this, and it's a lot harder for me to defend that and counter that, right? And so he kept the guy moving. He never stopped moving. From the moment he picked that leg up, he was constantly moving. That's something else to take away, right? So again, we're going through it. Let's do the other side this time. So again, he went straight collar. The guy went open feed. He got control of the wrist here, right? And then he was heavy on that leg because he was walking back, step to the side, drop, pick up the leg. Now, from here, the finish, here's what was happening. This guy, it looked like he was trying to maybe like run the pipe or something, but it wasn't working. The guy stood on big. The big guy was here and he was controlling this shoulder, and he was going for a high, almost like a high collar grip, but on the back here. And a lot of times these grips are used to do things, different counters, like Uchimatas and things like that. And also too, the big guy was keeping the shin against the quad here, which again is going to make it a little bit more difficult to finish. If the leg was here or here, it would be much easier to finish, but he was here, okay? So he was putting up a defense. So from there, the finish was really simple, okay? And also another thing to notice was his posture. He never rounded his back. He was always in a good straight posture, bending at the hips, or bending at the knees, not the hips. And then from here, he was circling, getting the guy moving. It wasn't working. And then from there, he ran, picked it up, and took the guy down, and just did a basic switch to, knee tap, double leg type thing. So again, we're looking through it. 2, here, hands are up here, he gets the grip. The guy starts walking, steps, picking up, circle. All right, guys, so that is the takedown. Again, I'm sure I'm missing a few bits and pieces as far as the details go, because again, anybody that's at high level, they have all these little details to their technique, so I'm sure there's stuff I'm missing, but that's the gist of it. It's one of my favorite takedowns as a wrestler who got into jiu-jitsu, one of my favorite moves to use because it allows me to work through some of these grips that normally can be a pain in the butt, like the collar grip. And then also too, for you guys, if you have wrestled before, or if you want a good takedown to use in the gi, this is a great one. Again, I've got a lot of stuff on the channel to show how to do this already. If not, you can use the details in this video to help you. But again, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys next time.